My name is Jonah Nazarian. Please raise your hand if you've ever seen a Pixar film. Today, I'm here to talk with all of you about how we are overlooking something in plain sight. As a young kid, I went to see Up with my dad and brothers. Unbeknownst to me, I was about to enter the amazing world of Pixar. I enjoyed the action throughout the movie, but I was not privy to the deeper meaning. As usual, after watching a movie with my dad, he asked me and my brothers what we learned. I responded by saying something along the lines of, "Well, the old man gets his house to fly next to the waterfall." My dad listened to the rest of my brother's explanations, but then shed some light on the true moral of the story: taking opportunities. He said that you should always take opportunities presented to you because you never know how your situation may change or if those opportunities will still be available. Now, as a 14-year-old, I want to share with you how I perceive these films' morals. Morals have always been an important part of myths and fairy tales, and it is no coincidence that Pixar carries on this tradition. Animated movies are more than entertainment. They're a moral compass. They teach us lessons through perspectives that we would not normally be exposed to, allowing us to see ideas in a whole new light. The reason I bring up Pixar specifically is because their stories' morals are often overlooked. This is because we are approaching these movies with a fun mindset rather than with a thoughtful mindset. If we approach these movies a little more carefully, we will be able to find out much more than just how to get to Paradise Falls. Moreover, these stories can be focusing on three completely different protagonists. Though the stories aren't always about humans, their morals are. A movie about humans or insects or even rogue robots all contain not only life lessons for an individual, but a message for all of humanity. Now, let's jump into it with WALL-E. WALL-E appeals to kids and adults because of its charming characters and exceptional plot. More seasoned moviegoers, however, saw even deeper into the film. It's interesting for them to see how Pixar can fit the importance of protecting our environment into a children's movie full of majestic colors, beautiful sounds, and a great storyline. The tale begins on an unfamiliar brown Earth. But as the story progresses, we see more and more life, signifying that the Earth will become full of nature once again. Not only does WALL-E try and spread awareness about it, but it teaches us what could happen if we do not care about the environment. Another theme explored in A Bug's Life is what would happen if our society was to not exercise and if we were to rely on autonomy. If we were to become an overweight and lazy society as portrayed in the movie, the consequences would be enormous. Not only would it affect our health and our hygiene, but it would also limit our life expectancy, cause children to be born unhealthy, and cause a deep depression in our economy. All of these points can be brought forth just from WALL-E. Did you get all that? Another Pixar movie that contains an underlying theme is A Bug's Life. Released in 1998, it is Pixar's second full-length feature film. At this early stage in the studio's lifetime, they were already incorporating complex themes into their movies. While at a glance, A Bug's Life may seem like a children's movie, it contains many concepts relating to slavery in America, with the analogy being that the ants are the enslaved and the grasshoppers are the slave owners. The ants are tasked with having to pick grain for both themselves and for the grasshoppers. If they do not achieve this task, then they are forced to go hungry due to death threats from Hopper. This is similar to how enslaved Africans had to work on big plantations during the 17th through 19th centuries in America. Rather than enslaved Africans being able to work to provide for themselves, their work was solely for the benefit of their owners. Additionally, the ants, as well as those enslaved in the past, both had a higher population than their captors, allowing them to overthrow their cruel enslavers with enough coordination. Unfortunately, there were only a few slave revolts, and many were unsuccessful due to fear and lack of coordination. David Walker, a prominent African-American abolitionist, also believed that if the slaves were to rise up against their owners, they would be free. In the end, this is what the ants end up doing to get their freedom. It's interesting how two completely different topics have such similar meanings. It appeared to Hopper, the leader of the grasshoppers and the antagonist, that if, quote, you let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up to us. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. This is how many masters felt as well. That is why they had to make an example out of anyone who stepped out of line, even minuscule offenses. Another theme explored in A Bug's Life is perspective. Not only do they play with visual perspective when it comes to the bird in the climax, but they also explore metaphorical perspectives. You see, when Flick, the main character, says he will get warriors to protect the colony, he is unsuccessful. However, he does find circus entertainers. He convinces them to pose as warriors for his colony. When they arrive, the ants rejoice and celebrate the arrival of their new protectors. It is not until the beginning of the third act that their true identities are revealed and the ants begin to panic. From this, we can gather that it is the way we think about something that decides how we will act. Now, let's back up to up. See what I did there? Throughout the movie, it keeps on pushing the idea that adventure is out there. But what does it truly mean? Is it meant to be taken literally or more metaphorically? It means that we need to get our butts outside in nature. Our generation has become numb to nature, and that is not okay. A recent study completed by the Pew Research Center states that teens spend an average of 9 hours a day online. Being online for this long can have major short-term and long-term consequences. Being out in the real world seeking adventure, rather than doing it on your phone, can be much more rewarding and teach important life skills. I'm just gonna say it straight up. Being online for 9 hours a day is kinda ridiculous, though I'm sure I'm guilty of it myself. Another theme explored in A Bug's Life is relationships. In the first few scenes of Up, we see the heartbreaking scene of Carl and Ellie's life. We see how their relationship builds and how Carl is devastated by Ellie's death. This shows us the importance of relationships and companionship, because after Ellie dies, Carl becomes isolated from the world around him. Then, Russell floats into his life. At first, Carl wants nothing to do with him, as well as the other goofy characters he meets along the journey. But in the end, he realizes that relationships are what make life worth living, and that we can only enjoy life to its fullest potential if we surround ourselves with people who we love. Additionally, characters like Kevin and Doug, who seem to be in the movie strictly for comedic relief, have much more of a hidden meaning as well. While Kevin represents protecting endangered species, Doug teaches us the important lesson of unconditional love. Doug is a golden retriever who instantly tries to befriend Carl. Carl hesitates, and even when he is met by so much love from Doug, he just completely shuts him out. Doug persists and is finally let in by Carl, as seen in this clip. Pixar ends all their movies with a life lesson, I will try to leave you with one as well. With the knowledge that you have gathered from this talk today, how will you help these causes that Pixar has raised awareness for? Whether it's protecting our environment, helping, maintaining, and promoting a healthy diet full of exercise, not being controlled by fear, or just being more open to others. So next time you watch a Pixar film, or any movie for that matter, I hope that all of you keep an open mind, challenge yourselves to look for hidden lessons, and decide what you're going to do about them. Thank you.